This is going to be such a fabulous, fabulous interview, guys. I've been so excited about this. Pinterest is near and dear to my heart, although I will admit not using it as of late. So Laura, I know, will school me on this today, but I wanted to share a quick story about why we're talking about Pinterest today. I know that you've been using Pinterest to create lesson plan ideas, to like gather ideas for summer camps, basically to become a better teacher, right? You're using Pinterest in a way that allows you to find new resources and learn new stuff. But that's not the only thing that you can use Pinterest for your music studio. So whether you are a music studio owner and you teach one-on-one, or if you're like a group person, or if you are a blogger, or if you've created some like online content for teachers or students, Pinterest is going to be a really great way for you to increase your reach so that you can serve more of the people that you love. So I'm so excited that you're here today. And if you've been curious about Pinterest, we've got so much good stuff coming towards you. If you are here with me live, please be sure to say good morning and let me know where you're tuning in from. And let me know if you've been using, or let me know how you've been using Pinterest in your business. I would love to know that. If you are watching the replay later on, know that we love to have our conversations even after the video is over. So if you have any questions, be sure to jump in and I will be back to have a convo with you. So today we are going to be inviting an amazing guest and just an awesome human being to join us. Her name is Laura Rike. And let me just tell you a little bit about Laura. She's a Pinterest strategist, okay, who helps high-performing business owners implement content growth plans and outsource their visibility and steadily grow their monthly revenue through her signature growth to greatness framework with done-for-you services and course packages. She has so many cool things to show you guys. Like, it's totally gonna blow your mind. And I just have to say, I love Laura. She's amazing. And I got to meet her in person twice and spend a bunch of time with her. And it was really, really fun. So before I bring Laura on, just real quick, some housekeeping. If you hear something today that is valuable to you, give us a hashtag takeaway and let us know what that is, because we love to learn out loud together. And speaking of together, if you have a teacher friend who you think could benefit from being a part of this conversation, please invite them to join us. The more, the merrier. I do have the Savvy Sara bot set up for you guys today. So if you drop a pin below, she's going to be delivering some really cool things to you. Just thought I'd get that out of the way, and I'll tell you what those cool things are later. So, without further ado, let's bring on Laura. Dun, 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 dun. Laura, welcome to the broadcast.
Hey, that intro was amazing. You are so sweet.
I'm so excited to chat with you. I know we've been talking about doing this for like a really long time.
Yeah. Yep. I think we have been talking about it pre-baby.
Pre-baby. Yes. Laura had a baby this December. Was it December? End of December, like Christmas
Yeah.
baby almost.
Christmas Day.
Oh my, okay, Christmas. Oh, wow.
Yeah.
I absolutely love it. And I love seeing all your pictures of her and hearing about how things are going. So baby's taking a nap right now.
Yes, yes. So fingers
Fingers
crossed. The
crossed.
13-year-old is done with school. He's upstairs doing his workbooks for unschooling and stuff that we do in the summer right next to sleeping baby. So hopefully they both just stay up there.
Yeah. So everybody cross your fingers because I know we
Yeah.
got a lot of moms here and they all understand.
Yes,
Oh,
for
awesome.
sure.
For sure. Awesome. Okay, so before we get into this, I actually like forgot to say for those who are new, because we might have some new people here. Hey, my name is Sara Campbell. I'm a business strategist and mindset and marketing coach for music studio owners and online education experts just like you. And every week we go live at 12 Eastern and on Wednesdays. And sometimes we get super amazing people to join us like Laura. And Laura, you're going to be teaching us today how to use Pinterest to grow our music studio businesses. So do you want to tell us a little bit about like what I have a question for you because I just love this.
Yeah.
What first got you into using Pinterest?
Okay, so actually, I was a virtual assistant first, and I became a virtual assistant because I was a collections agent and I hated it. And
Yeah.
it was just getting me through school back then. And then they closed down. The whole agency closed down and they let us all go. Like we walked into work, we worked for half the day, we went to lunch, we came back and they were just done. The whole floor got fired.
Oh my
And
gosh.
so I went on unemployment and I was like, I'm not going back to another agency. Went into VA work, right? From there, while I'm still doing school for graphic design, got into VA and I was just like, I'm over it. I can't do VA, like pulling me so many different places. It was bringing in money, but it was also sacrificing time with my family, which is a big thing that I talk about a lot is like, don't trade your sleep for success.
Yeah.
And so figuring out during that time what I really liked and what I really excelled at, I started doing multiple things in social and didn't find my love there with graphic design and marketing together. So then I went on Pinterest when it was invite only.
Oh
And
wow.
yes, yeah, yeah, most like you guys, I started using it just for personal, right? Like the kids' crafts, the fun DIY, the household stuff, like what people think Pinterest is all about. And I was like, let's just try this for some of my VA clients. And it took off.
Ooh.
Like we were loving it. I was getting great results for my clients. I was loving the time that I was putting into it. Things that were being done, say like January, were still bringing in help and profit and revenue and traffic and like all that stuff come June, come July,
Wow.
like way later. And I was like, I don't have to overwork to be able to provide for my family and still make a difference for my clients. So there was like a 2 year period where I struggled to be only Pinterest because I kept, in my head worrying about what was happening and is it going to be enough and things like that. And when I finally just let go and I just put my heart into it and all of it, I mean, it was the best thing ever. I take 1 to 2 days off a week in the middle of the week with my kids. And I mean, my clients are happy. I'm happy. We're making a difference together. So it's awesome.
That's such a fabulous story. I can't even imagine heading into work and like the whole floor gets fired.
The whole floor. Like my girlfriend and I walked in and everybody was gone except for her and I because we took lunch an hour later than the normal lunch hour. Everybody was gone. And we were like, what happened?
So you became an early adopter to Pinterest and it totally changed the way you ran your business and the way you helped other people run their businesses. And I love what
Yeah,
you just said
absolutely.
about the fact that a piece of content that went out on there in January was still bringing people in June and July.
Yeah. Yep. And we use specific tracking methods with my clients and my students. So we can pinpoint and tell them, look, we pinned this for this piece of content in February, and it's now May, and you're getting sales on it. And we actually just were live on somebody's podcast, and we were going over her exact stats and it was February to May. And she's now starting to bring in organic revenue from one pin that was done in February.
So I think that's like one of the biggest things that sets Pinterest apart because a lot of people think that Pinterest is social media, right? That's
Yeah.
the idea. It's like you see, especially like on the bottom of a blog post or something, you see like all the little icons down there, like the tweet, the Instagram, and then you
Yeah.
see the pin. And so we start associating Pinterest with being social media, but it's not social media, is it?
No, social media is more of the feed, right? You're scrolling through and you're seeing all these things. And Pinterest still has social elements to it, but they don't bring up the main purpose of the platform. The main purpose of the platform is a search based feed. So the benefit is they're not scrolling past something, finding you, and then deciding if they want to continue on down this customer journey. They're searching for a solution. They're searching to purchase something. They're searching for help or for learning. And so they've already kind of gotten past that stall of, do
Mm.
I need it? Is it for me? And they're already looking for who can help me, who can I buy from, which is really cool because that's already one piece that you don't have to go through that hurdle for. You just get to be there and be present when they need you.
Oh, that's a great point. I've never really thought about it that way. You are kind of cutting out a little bit of that customer journey and you're
Yeah.
catching them when they're already actively looking for something.
Yep.
Oh, that's
Absolutely.
fabulous. So we're going to get to like 3 points today that I think are really, really valuable, especially for those of you who have just been using Pinterest for, lesson resources and things like that. I'm going to pause real quick to say good morning. We've got lots of people tuning in. We got Elizabeth from New York. We got Houston. We got Pitting Cherries in Baltimore. um, Craig and I have had conversations lately. He said he hasn't used Pinterest at all until now. Yes,
Awesome.
awesome. And Elizabeth says she used to use it as ideas to save. And that I think is really standard, right? And look, we have a fellow Christmas baby, Nicole.
Awesome. I love it, Nicole.
That's awesome. I see. Hey there, Jeanette. She's excited to learn about Pinterest. We got Brenda who invited 2 teacher friends. That's great. And hey,
Yeah.
Tara Wright is here.
Yay.
Yes. And I know Tara's in some of your courses, I believe. It's good stuff.
I
Good
think
stuff.
so.
Yeah. So let's get to the tips, shall we? These are really, really good. Let's bring up number
Oh,
1. So the first tip to using Pinterest to grow your music studio is repurposing content. Do you want to tell us about this?
yeah, absolutely. So this is a big piece when we talk about like this client success come May and she's getting organic sales from something she did in February, right? So when I tell that story, I get concerned that people are like, "Oh, I just pin once and it's going to work and it's going to make me millions," right? And like if we had that magic egg, everybody would want it. There's not just like this magic that happens. You have to actually work for it and you have to be able to repurpose and reuse so that you don't overwhelm, you don't trade your sleep for success. So, when I'm talking about repurposing, there's a difference for repurposing on social media and repurposing for Pinterest.
Ooh.
There are a number of different things that you can do. One of them is if you put out a pin and you notice that it's doing really well, right? So, say it's leading to a blog post. If you put out a pin design come February and then say May, you're getting great traffic on it, go back in May when you see that in your analytics and create another graphic for it.
Ooh.
Something completely different, but try to get even more traffic and basically like double down on it, right? Because you're seeing they like that topic. How else can I reach a different audience? The way that you can do that really simply is just change up some colors. You could even use the same title, but colors, words, everybody perceives things differently. So even like my pink, I put navy to it, right?
Yeah.
Because not everybody likes the fuchsia, not everybody likes the navy, but together you can appeal to 2 different types of people. So just think about small changes that you can do. And then there's so many, I could go on for hours about repurposing. There's so many other ways, but just a couple tips. If you go live like we are today, Sara can use this live stream. She can create a audiogram. One of my favorite ways to do that is like Headliner, the
Mm-hmm.
app. They help you make those wave graphics. That could be a pin. You could take a clip of a tip that we're giving on here and then just have a title and make it into that long, skinny pin image. And then you have a video pin. And then you could do like 3 tips that were given on 3 different images and put that as an idea pin. They were formerly called story pins, where it's like a
Okay.
slideshow of different things. All 3 of those can lead back to this live stream. So now you have three different ways that you're capturing attention for one piece of content that you put out there.
Ah, that's incredible. And I just have to say, my VA is watching this right now. So, Jeffrey, we're going to have a conversation. Yes,
Yeah, for
because I got to
sure.
get back on Pinterest. So, like, if I could maybe take this into the realm of, like, okay, so a piano teacher, they're putting out
Yep.
content on their Facebook page or their Instagram account. Maybe you're doing reels,
Yeah.
maybe you have some like graphic that teaches a certain tip, or like inspirational quotes about practice and things like that. They could take that content, bring it over to Pinterest,
Yes.
maybe change the size of the graphic, right? That's something
Yes.
that and Canva is great for that. Gotta love Canva, right?
Yeah.
So change it so that it's formatted for the social, not, I almost called it social, the search engine, right? And then they can use that link and drive traffic back to their Facebook page or their Instagram
Yeah.
account.
Yes, absolutely. Yep. And so, what I'll caution you with on this is that 100% is a perfect way to do that. Make sure if you are just starting out, though, you focus and hone in on what is starting conversations, what
Mm,
is bringing in the right traffic or the right sales right now for you. So if you have a reel where you've had three people direct message you and be like, I need to know how you're doing this. Can we work with you? We're in the area, whatever it is, then you want to be able to repurpose that, right? If
excellent.
you are someone that has multiple streams of content and you're already been using Pinterest and now you're looking for ways to constantly create that new fresh content,
Yeah.
then go ahead and widen that scope a little bit. But really make sure if you're just starting out, focus on what's going to lead to results first. What is already working in your business, in your music studio? What is bringing in the phone calls, the leads, the sales? And then figure out how to drive more traffic and more eyeballs using Pinterest to that content.
Okay, so I love that you bring up that point, and I'm just making sure that I've got the link live over in our event page because I realized I didn't do that.
Yeah, for sure.
uh, what what you say here about making sure that you identify what is already working. So make sure that you are using content that is already starting the conversation. So like you said, if a piece of content that you've used, whether it's on social media or maybe it's like a blog post, or maybe
Exactly.
it's a sales page for like a summer camp,
Yep.
and it's already kind of converting, right? Then
Yep.
that's going to be what you want to pin.
Yep. Starting out, because that's going to give you the most benefit. When you think of Pinterest, you do have to think of long term. So it's not going to just be this immediate result that you get tomorrow. I mean,
Hmm.
you could, but it's going to be a long term thing. I say stick with it for 90 days at the very least,
Hmm.
consistently working on it. So when you think about that, then if you do have a sales page that's working well, or maybe it's a freebie offer or landing page or something like that that you want to start with, start there, because then you'll start to see the results by the end of those 90 days. And that will keep you motivated and show you the proof that you can continue on with this path and bringing in new visibility to other avenues of your business as well.
Oh, awesome. So I want to define some of these things because I know some of these terms might be like people are going like, what does that mean? So if there's a sales page, right? Like let's just define that. It could be something like this is your sales page that leads towards working with you as a voice teacher, right? It has your packages on there. Landing page might be more specific to a very like specific course that you've created or a very specific offer. It could also be I'm trying to think of some other examples, so like summer camps or
Phone
things.
call.
Yeah, yeah. So the
Signing up for a consult call with you to
yes.
see if
Oh,
you guys
great.
are a good fit.
Yeah, so that like 15-minute, chat that you do on the phone before you get that
Yep.
initial lesson. So all of these little things that we can think of, these are points of contact that we can drive people towards that could be potential stuff that we could repurpose. I see so many good
Yeah.
things going on in the comments. Before we get to the second tip, let's just bring up a couple of these. Let's see. Oh, okay. So Patricia says, good morning. I don't know how I could use Pinterest. I'm anxious to hear what you have to say. Patricia, knowing what you do in your business, I think Pinterest would be perfect for you. Especially with the new offer that you've launched this year, I think getting that would be awesome. And there's Jeffrey. He's like, I'm ready for this Pinterest takeover, Sara. Let's do this.
Awesome.
It's gonna be great.
Definitely, we're going to become best friends.
Yes. And so Jeanette is saying, so we're taking a post from social media and repurposing it on Pinterest.
Yes, essentially that is exactly what you're doing. You just need to follow the best practices of Pinterest and
Yeah.
like the size of the images and things like that. But absolutely, think of it like I said, search engine. And if they're searching for something you talked about on social media, you just need to connect that gap.
Yeah, and so this all ties back into, and it's something that I talk about all the time, knowing your clients, right? Knowing what they are searching for and what are their, what are they interested in learning? And that's what you need to start speaking to in your content. And so if you haven't done that work yet, it's time to sit down and think about that. Let's see. Okay, so we've got some other questions. I'm going to hold on to those. Karen and Barbara, we're going to hold on to those questions. Let's get to tip number 2. All right, here we go. Tip number 2. Increasing social profile visibility. We've kind of talked about this a little bit.
We have talked about it a little
Oops.
bit, and that's okay. I knew it was coming up, so not a problem. But yeah, so once you've started, really the biggest way to increase the social profiles is to use Pinterest to go back to those pieces. Basically, anytime you have a URL, you can lead traffic to there. I would start with other things than just like an image post with a link on a Facebook page, right? So if you have a podcast, if you have Facebook Lives, IGTV, Instagram Reels, TikTok, a lot of those places, you get that URL, pop that into Pinterest with either a static image, a video, taking that content, repurposing it, of course, or creating just a new static image in Canva with a title that's searchable and lead it back to that social platform. That's really going to be able to help bridge that gap so that you're going from what people are searching for to how can they find more of it on a consistent basis and be able to have that touch point with you to carry on those conversations.
Oh, that's genius. So it's about like what you said, like bridging people over to this is where you can find more of me or where you can get to know me better. So Pinterest might be that place where they find you first.
Yeah.
And they may not have heard of you before. So I'm thinking of some examples. So for instance, like, okay, Jeanette had asked about repurposing content, and Jeanette has a business where she incorporates reading skills into teaching music. So she uses music as a vehicle. I know, isn't that fun? Yeah. Like all parents need this.
Yeah.
Using music as a way to help your children read. And so, thinking about the pieces of content that you could that you're already putting out there, Jeanette, then using those and coming up with a video format that you can use, a static image that you can use, and bringing people back to your social media, then they're going to see, oh, Jeanette has all this other content. And she has a Facebook group that I can join. So it's just a way for people to discover you that's a little bit different, because we think of Google as like the one search engine that people go to, right? Like that's where, but a lot of people use YouTube and a lot of people use Pinterest to search things. So, and this actually kind of brings up another question. Before we bring up that question, is there anything else that we need to know about like increasing social profile visibility? Did we skip anything? I know we've done a lot.
Yeah, no, I think we kind of touched on it with the repurposing as well. I think it really just depends on where you're going to go. I think one of the things that I would say is that make sure that if you're going to do this for social proof, you figure out how you want to track that it is working for you. On a Pinterest account, you can't claim a Facebook page or a TikTok page. You can claim like YouTube and Etsy and your website. And so that's why when we were talking about repurposing as well, we said focus on what's working right now.
Yeah.
So make sure you focus first on what you can track is working. Then when you are saying, okay, I've been pinning one time a day, I'm going with my website and YouTube, and now I'm full up through the next, say, 3 weeks. Okay, then it's probably time where you can start to add 2 pins a day, right? And so then you'd be looking at Instagram Reels or Facebook Live and bringing those in, because you know you also have content going out that is trackable to your website and things like that.
Oh, that's really smart. So just, start building one at a
Yeah.
time, right? So start with the content on the website, and then, move into what did you say? YouTube, if you have a YouTube channel.
YouTube.
And I
Yep.
I I know not everybody here, maybe you just have a website. Maybe
Yeah.
you just have a Facebook page. And if that's where you are, that's okay.
Yeah. And if that's where you are, then maybe in the description of the pin or the call to action of the pin, put in there like, when you go watch this, comment Pinterest. And that way, then, even though you can't track the link click back to the Facebook Live, if they follow through on that and they say, hey, I'm over here watching your Facebook Live from Pinterest, you know it came from there. If you're doing 15-minute consult calls, maybe you don't have a way to track it right now, or you're just not good at the analytics and you just want a basic way to get traffic over there and know that it's working. Add a question in the form that they fill out for that call saying, how did you hear about me? We still do that, even though I do in-depth tracking, and I still get people that fill out that form saying Pinterest.
I love it. That's exactly how I do things as well. Like with the initial calls with clients, one of the first things I have on there is like, how did you find me? Right. And I
Yeah.
have like all these things that they can think, and then that they can pick. And then like the last one's like other, and then you have to explain
Yeah.
it.
Yeah. Exactly. But then that tells you, I mean, if you're just like, I don't want to deal with the tech, then don't. Just make it simple,
Keep it
a way
simple.
that you know how to track it, a way that you'll be able to relate that back to the work that you're doing.
Perfect. Perfect. If you guys are loving this right now, I want to know. So you can show us your love. Laura and I can both see the comments coming through. Yes, some hearts. Give us some hearts and some thumbs up, and that'll make a little fireworks show on our thing. And if you have a teacher friend who could benefit from this conversation, please do let them know about it now. That would be amazing. Look at all the hearts. Yay. Okay. We have one more point to go through, and then I know we have some questions from people if you have time to take questions.
Yeah, absolutely.
Hopefully,
Yeah,
baby is still sleeping.
you can go water the flowers outside and then check on your sister.
So sweet. So sweet.
He's got his little checklist that we do for the summer checklist, and he's like, I got this left. Can I go outside? Yes, you can go
Oh,
outside.
that is so sweet. That is so sweet. Okay, let's see here. Number 3, growing organically in less than a week. Okay, this I think is a big thing for people. Tell us about this.
Yep. Yeah, for sure. So the biggest thing for me is find a scheduler that works and batch your designs. So
The magic
I
word.
know,
The magic
I
word.
know you do this for your social media as well, Sarah. I know, Katya, we both have
Yes.
those templates, right? You can do templates for Pinterest. I have templates that I've created, things like that. But whatever works for you, sit down and say, okay, if it's, I mean, I'm not even going to say Monday because we all know Mondays aren't like my day to sit down and do stuff like that, right? So if it's Thursday, and you're like, it's 2 o'clock, it's my time, I need to think about what's going on next week and batch out all my content. You sit down, you set a timer, you figure out what content you want to send traffic to. What are you promoting? What is going on in your business? What holidays are coming up? What content have you done in the past? So like 4th of July, maybe you have something that you talked about on your blog for fun 4th of July music to do with your students to get them in the mood for the holiday season, right?
Yes.
So then now it's, I mean, in all intents and purposes, the first week of June. And we all know that we have to pre-plan out for content. So in 4 weeks, it's going to be July. Let's plan how many pin designs we want to do for this, right? And I know this sounds like a lot, but once you've done it a couple times, you will get a lot quicker. Trust me. You go through, you say, okay, this is what I want to share. These are the URLs. I personally use a Excel document, Google Excel sheet, and I just list the URLs in there so I know when I shared it, and I can track if I'm going to share it again and repurpose it, or if I haven't shared it, and you know, all the good stuff in terms of tracking. And then I create my graphics. I have my 2-3 templates. I duplicate those. I put the title, change the colors, and I can get graphics out in a good 20 minutes, half hour.
Nice.
Then I go over to Pinterest or my scheduler. I prefer Tailwind because it tells me the optimal times, and I just upload all my images. So if I'm going to do one a day, that's only 7 images, you guys. Every Thursday I sit down at 2 and I do 7 images. I upload the 7 images. In 1 hour, I am now scheduled out for the week. Beautiful. If you are doing the strategy, you're also going to be resharing those once a month for the next couple months to other boards. That's a little bit more deeper strategy involved.
That's okay.
But as it compounds, you can see, I mean, 3 months down the road, I may only have 2 or 3 designs that I have to create because 2 months ago, I have designs that are now repurposed. Right. So that's why I say it will get quicker. You just need to 3 things. Okay.
3 things.
Sit down. Yep. Sit down. Plan out your content. So look at what holidays, look at what words you want to rank for, phrases. Second thing, create your images for that. Get that done. Batch those all at one time. Third thing, upload them and schedule them all. Then you're done. And you can do it for 3 days. You can do it for 2 weeks. We typically, in my agency, schedule out for 2 to 3 weeks. If something happens with the kids, or if I have a family emergency or a vacation we want to take or whatever, I'm not stressing about what's going to post tomorrow when I'm about to get on a plane.
Yeah. So, and you mentioned scheduling, and I know that this is something that some people are going to go, but okay, I want to let's bring this back a step. If you are not using scheduling stuff for social media, don't worry about it. You can still batch all your content and then just consistently know that at this time of day, I'm going to take 2 seconds to jump on Pinterest and actually make the pin.
Psst. Pinterest can schedule pins.
Get out.
No. My live stream coming up right now on my page is talking about how to manually schedule a pin on Pinterest.
That's awesome. Oh my gosh. So you guys have to follow Laura to learn about that. That is super cool. When I'll share some stories here, because I kind of didn't talk about it in this live, but I did it when I went live in the event. When I first started blogging, Pinterest was my main source of traffic. And I did not know what I was doing, but I knew that people went to Pinterest to learn about different things about teaching, right? Yeah. So I would talk about summer lessons. I would talk about here's a St. Patrick's Day game. Here's a, actually, you mentioned 4th of July music. 4th of July music was one of my biggest pins.
That's awesome.
Right? So I didn't quite know what I was doing back in 2012. But I was like, I know that this works for other people, so I'm going to test it out. And it ended up being one of my biggest sources of traffic. And I'll be 100% honest, I have not done anything with that Pinterest account in a really long time, and it is still bringing traffic in.
Yeah, absolutely. Because people are still searching for that.
Right.
And you're out there on the platform and they're finding you for that search. That's why it's crazy different than social, because you're spending time posting on social media so that people constantly see you in the feed of social media.
Right.
People are searching for what they want. So, especially holidays, trends, seasons, things like that, they're going to search for it. And if you've put it out there in the past, they're still going to find you because it's still relevant to the holiday right now.
Ah, it's so smart. It's so smart. We've got some really great questions here. We're gonna try to
Yeah.
get to these. Let's do this. Oh, I see some takeaways. Yay. Pinterest can
Yeah.
schedule pins. Janet is also like pre-schedule the Pinterest. It's really good stuff. So here are a couple of questions that I think are interesting. Um,
Yeah.
Nicole is asking, what is the demographic of Pinterest? Ooh.
Ooh, that's a really great question. So, um, it really depends on what you are using for key phrases and things in your titles. There is a larger female base on the platform,
Hmm.
but I had a male only targeted client that was selling roses for their wives or girlfriends or whatever. And it was targeted only towards males. And they did really, really well on the platform. So I say it depends because it really is who you are targeting.
Yeah.
My demographic of who I'm targeting is going to be different than yours because of the fact that it's search based. So if you think about it, think about like Google or the stock market. Their demographic isn't one type of individual because Google is like massive. Everybody uses them, right? Or a search engine, Bing, Yahoo. So think more about not what is the demographic, but the psychographics, right?
Hmm.
What are they interested in? What questions are they asking? What problems are they looking to solve? What services or products are they looking to purchase? That's what you want to focus on more so than the demographic, because you could think that your avatar is female, ages say 18 to 35,
Hmm.
right? And you go to Pinterest and maybe you get a male who's 21 and really wants to learn how to play the violin, and that's the service you offer. You're not going to turn them away because they know you. Just think about it and twist it a little bit differently than just a demographic.
Oh, I love, and thank you for asking this question, Nicole. I think it's really, really important. Looking at, because we talk in like branding boot camp and things like that, and even in the social media course, I talk a lot about like who are your ideal clients. And I would say, generally speaking, for the majority of piano teachers, voice teachers, everybody, you're looking at the parents, right? So your actual client that you are focused
Okay.
on would be the parent. So you may
Yeah.
like, especially if you're teaching like, let's say 12 and under, right? So
Yes, for
you want
sure.
to gear your content towards what would mom be searching for, or what would grandma be searching for? Maybe what would dad be searching for?
And so now knowing that, if you there is a category on Pinterest for parenting. So
Mm,
if you go to audience insights, it's underneath when you're logged into your account. You'll actually go underneath analytics. There's a little drop down and it says audience insights. You can
awesome.
see what categories are out there and then what the interests are for those categories. So if your target market is for parents, look under children's fashion, look under education, look under parenting, and see what comes up for things like that. So, like when I go to mine and I'm looking under parenting, there are toddlers and preschoolers, parenting advice, milestones to overcome, toys by age, activities by age. All of those things can be things that you talk to, right? They're not music specific, but if someone's saying, I need an activity for my teen, or I need an activity because I'm a single parent and I need them to still have this well-rounded education, or I want them to expand their knowledge of, like, my son picked up the clarinet and just started playing. And I was like, that is awesome. I need somebody to help him. I don't know the clarinet. I play piano, right? So I was like, how do I even go about this? And so I start looking at activities for teenagers wanting to get involved in clarinet. So if you do activities for teens and you're found under there, and then you say, this is a great activity to have your teen do to get better at music or whatever that topic is, then relate it that way, right? So hopefully that helps, like, focus on the categories and the interests and see how you can think outside of the box to relate it to those things that you have in terms of content and services and offerings.
Oh, that's so good. Janet's like, go to audience insights and find the target audience. That's really, really
Yeah.
smart. And this kind of ties into the question that Laura had. Laura said, "Are you saying that people go to Pinterest to search for a piano teacher?" So, what do you think, Laura?
Yeah, so I don't think they necessarily go to Pinterest searching for a piano teacher. I think the way that you can work with this is a couple of different ways, right? One, you're going to get the parents who think that they can help their kids on their own because they're a stay-at-home
True.
parent, or they're unschooling or homeschooling. And so they think that they can do it on their own. So speak to why having an actual teacher in their area would benefit them more, right? Because then you can say, hey, I know you're looking to provide piano lessons for your kid and you're looking for this, but here is what I think would benefit you more and why, right?
Oh, so good.
Or you can think about the fact that Pinterest has more domain authority, meaning they are ranked higher in Google searches than your website.
This
So
is
if
true.
someone goes to Google and
Yes.
searches piano teacher in your location, and you have used that phrase and your location in your titles and your descriptions, you have more of a chance to come up with your Pinterest pins than your website does.
You just blew my mind. Like, you just blew my mind. And you just answered Karen's question. She said, if we only want local students and we don't plan on doing anything online, how can Pinterest help us? So that's the answer.
Use location specific in everything you do.
That is so cool. And that makes sense though, because Pinterest is a heck of a lot bigger than
Yeah,
sarahsmusicstudio.com, as much as I hate to
exactly.
admit that. But
Yeah, exactly. Even my website. I mean, I teach Pinterest. I work with Pinterest, right? And so I'm not saying you're guaranteed to be on the first page because that's not something that anybody guarantees.
no.
But I am saying there is a greater possibility of you being found on Google by using Pinterest as well as your website, because both of them are search based. And so even for me, I have people saying that they searched on Google and couldn't find the right fit. They went to Pinterest, they found me, and then they hired me, right? So they may not have looked at those pins at the top, but the top results of websites weren't what were a good fit for them. So
Yeah.
where did they turn to next? And so there's different ways that you can utilize that. Plus, it makes you more omnipresent.
Mm. And that's a big word this past year. Like omnipresent, omni-channel, like being able to be
Yeah.
found on different platforms. And what's so cool is that if you're consistent with that, all the platforms kind of start building this like web
Yeah. Yep.
and they feed into one another. So let me see if there were any. Oh, there was one more question, and then we're going to do a real quick recap, and we're going to talk about like something that's coming up with Laura, which is super cool. Question from Barbara: Pinterest newbie, is there a fee to post or to monetize content?
So there's not a fee with Pinterest if you are using it organically. If you want to use ads, of course, you're going to have to put some money behind the ads dollars. In terms of monetizing content, it actually has to be monetized on the platform wherever you're leading the traffic to.
Okay.
So if you're leading to a blog, you monetize the blog. If you're leading to YouTube, you have YouTube ads. So there's a number of different ways that you can do that. You can also use like affiliate sources. So I am an affiliate for Tailwind. I would use my link to lead to certain content they have on their site with my affiliate links, right? So
Yeah.
there's different ways that you can have your account monetized in terms of whoever you work with. Maybe there's music, uh,
Music
uh,
apps or
what is the,
publishers.
yes, thank you. Mom brain.
No,
But
that's
like
okay.
maybe
We're playing what's charades.
brain. Yeah. But like maybe you're partnering with someone that provides really good publishing companies for different music lessons or things like that that you would use in your home. But there are other people online that are like, well, I want to try it out at my house first because I am, homeschooling or whatever. If you're an affiliate for them, you can still drive traffic to that content with your affiliate links and then
Yeah.
monetize it that way. So it's just, again, think outside of the box, think of different ways to be able to do that. It's not monetized directly on the Pinterest platform.
Ah, so good. So, I hope you guys have found this as fascinating as I have. We're going to do a recap, but before we do that, I wanted to tell you about like where you can learn more from Laura, because Laura, you are a powerhouse of information
Thank
about Pinterest.
you.
Tell us about your masterclass that's coming up on June 16th.
Yeah, absolutely. So I have a masterclass. I've done it a number of times in the past. A lot has changed since baby. So we are relaunching a new one. Super excited for it. And we're going to go over like literally the exact framework that will help you start ranking on the platform, the best tips in terms of design, how to be able to batch process, a lot of things like that. We're going to dive a little bit deeper than we did here today
Mm-hmm.
in that masterclass. And then, of course, there's always an offer at the end of the masterclass. I live by transparency. So we did just open the doors to my membership where there are weekly coaching calls and then all my organic trainings that I have done in my course in the past drip out and walk you through that framework. So the masterclass will give you tons of information that you literally can take and act upon right away.
Awesome.
And then if you're looking for more support after that, then we have the membership that's opening.
Ah, I love it. And tell them the name of the membership because I think it's cool.
Pintastic Rockstars.
Yes, Laura trademarked the word Pintastic.
I did.
Yeah, it's so fancy. You have your little registered trademark.
Fantastic.
So if you want to learn more about that masterclass, I know I'm going to be going to it. You can get a hold of that by going to savvymusicstudio.com/Laura. And of course, I have this set up so that if you want to get that like delivered to you and you don't want to type it, wait, wrong. Where did it go? Drop the word pin below. And then the Savvy Sarah bot will send you that. And for those of you who are like really wanting to jump in right now and work on some templates, Laura, you have this really cool product. It's something that I purchased I think a couple years ago. And I absolutely love it. And I'm going to be using it. I'm going to be using it with my VA. It's your Pinterest toolkit.
Yeah.
The toolkit is fantastic. Tell them what's inside of the toolkit.
Yeah, so there's a number of different things in the toolkit. I have a keyword swipe file, which we update regularly. So if there's ever a specific category or interest that's not in there, you let us know and we update it for you. So you don't have to do the work in finding those phrases. We have customizable Canva templates. I also have a branding blueprint, which is really helpful to kind of have that all laid out to know what colors to use. If you're like Sara and you have a VA, you put this together and hand it off to them so that they know when they're making those pins and those templates, all your branding is aligned.
Nice.
I have call to action swipe files so that you know how to be able to get people to click through. And then we have a couple of advanced trainings. So I talk about how to do that advanced tracking if that's where you're at, and then how to customize a dashboard in Google Analytics to see where those sources of traffic and Pinterest are coming from.
Oh, it's so good. Like there's so much inside of this toolkit, like, and it's a no-brainer. You just need it. Trust me. Trust me. If you are wanting to jump in and starting to like batch the content and everything and you don't want to start from scratch, simply the templates alone are worth it. Like they're so cool. And that reminds, I have to organize them. I know they're in my Canva account somewhere, but like guys, if you could see the inside of my Canva account, you would cringe.
It's crazy. We started organizing mine too.
Yes, we need to. So, okay, let's do a very super fast recap of everything that we've talked about. So, Laura, you are the queen of Pinterest, at least in my mind. And we're talking about how to use Pinterest to grow your music studio business. And you had 3 points. Shall we go through them?
Yeah.
Rapid style? Okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Sum this up. Repurposing content on Pinterest.
Repurposing content on Pinterest. Make sure that you don't just take one pin design and one URL, put it out there on the platform and leave it to sit. You can make multiple images. You can lead back to multiple places of content you've already put out there online. You can use blogs from 2 years ago. It doesn't matter. You can make it relevant and evergreen to use today.
I love it. So be using all of those things. If you have a crazy, awesome sales page for your piano lessons, like create 5 different types of pins that go along with that. And you can use, so you can take one piece of content and go, boop. Okay, tip number 2, increasing social profile visibility.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is my favorite one. If you have a URL, you can connect it. So use Pinterest like top of funnel and send them to other places that are on your social media accounts that is already creating conversation or bringing in sales and leads. So if you are doing TikTok or IGTV or Facebook Live or YouTube, you can use Pinterest to bring in more eyeballs to that content and then carry on the conversation and customer journey over there.
Super easy, right? So she said top of funnel. So think about it this way. Like we always think that people are going to be Googling like how do I piano lessons in my area or whatever. They may also be searching other things on Pinterest about piano lessons for young kids or piano resources for beginners or things like that. So you can rank under those and then send them out to your socials and they'll learn more about you.
Yep, absolutely.
And then tip number 3, growing organically in less than a week.
Batch process. I mean, under this one, I gave 3 tips. I said, take a minute to figure out what day you can sit down for 1 hour and find the content that you want to share, whether it's for holidays, whether it's trending topics, whether it's content you know is working. List all that out, be able to track it. I use a Google Excel sheet. Then go in, create all your images in one sitting. So if you're going to schedule out 1 pin a day, that's 7 images that you have to create. That's it. Then either schedule on a scheduler or schedule on Pinterest. And then you're scheduled out for the week. So if it's a Thursday at 2:00, sit down, spend an hour, get it scheduled out. And if you want more content, then do more. So if it's 2 pins a day, do 14 images and just keep expanding from there.
Beautiful. And I can see so many ways that music teachers could use this. And especially those of you who have created online courses or you've got memberships, there are so many ways that you can take pieces of content and create amazing images and videos and pin them. And the key is to batch it, right? Because it's like what I say, it is easier. If you are going to make a chocolate chip cookie, right? And you're only making one cookie. You still have to get out all of the ingredients. You still have
Yeah.
to like you're going to make a mess of the bowl and the spatula and all that stuff. It's way easier to create a whole batch of cookies than it is to just create one.
Okay, I love that analogy, and it's so true.
You can so use it.
Yes.
Okay, amazing. Guys, if you found this useful, let us know. Give Laura some round of applause and thank her for being here because she took time out of her busy schedule and baby stayed
Oh,
asleep and we almost went a full hour.
I know, it's so
um
quiet.
yeah, so quiet. If you guys want to learn more, remember that Laura has her masterclass on June 16th. So I've put the link in the comments here. You can also find it by going to sarasmusicstudio.com/Laura. And if you want to grab that toolkit, which it's my favorite thing, go to savvymusicstudio.com/toolkit. So you can grab that and drop the word pin below and all of it gets sent to you. Whew.
And I love conversation, just like Sara said, she loves conversation. So if you're here live or you're watching the replay, I am still around. So
Yes.
please still shout out your questions. Just because we didn't answer them on the video here right now does not mean that I can't help you still. So please, please, please don't feel like any question is too dumb, too small, whatever. I am here to help you as much as possible.
Oh, Laura, you're amazing. Thank you for that reminder. It's so good. Janet says, thank you. Amazing ladies. So
You
good.
are
Yeah.
so welcome, you
So much
guys.
fun. So you guys can follow Laura at Laura Rike, and you can find out more about her at laurarike.com. Laura, thank you.
Yeah, you are so welcome. Thanks for bringing me on.
It's so much fun. I
Mm.
and it just felt good to see you, even though it's not in person.
I know. I can't wait till we do that again.
I know. Poolside, girl, poolside.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for being here. I really appreciate you. I look forward to hearing or to attending your masterclass on June 16th. And
Yeah.
like Laura said, if anybody has any questions, if you're watching this on the replay, like jump in. We've got Elizabeth saying many thanks. Brenda's like, good stuff. I can't wait to see what you guys are going to do with your Pinterest account. So, Laura,
Yeah.
thank you so much for being here. Thank you.
Absolutely. Yeah. And when you guys do stuff, share it with me. I want to see what you
Yes.
guys are doing too. I'm so excited.
Oh, it's going to be so good. Thank you so much, Jeanette. Awesome. All right. Well, Laura, hang on for just 1 second and I'm going to
Yep.
wrap this bad boy up. All right, guys.
Sounds good.
Wow. Amazing. So incredibly amazing. So please, if you enjoyed today, let us know. If you have any questions about Pinterest, drop them below. And if you enjoyed this, remember that we will be back next week with more good stuff. So in the meantime, stay savvy and stay you because you are an amazing teacher and there is no one in the world quite like you. And I think you're pretty dang awesome. We will see you guys next time. Bye.